What is going on, YouTube? Sin City Guns here. Another beautiful day out here in Las Vegas. Wanted to do a quick video on practical shooting sports, dynamic shooting sports, action shooting sports, IPSC, USPSA, IDPA, 3-gun, cowboy action, things of that nature. I think that they are great fun, and I think that they are a great and necessary tool that should be incorporated into everybody's progression of their shooting skills. I also wanted to talk about, some of the classifications, in my opinion, of gun owners. I think in general you have kind of like gun owners. That's everybody knows who they are. That's the guy who lives across the street. He has a Glock 19, or he has his dad's old revolver or something like that, and he has it for home protection. Doesn't really shoot it. Might not even have a safe. Isn't very proficient with the gun, but he owns the gun. Then from there you kind of have your gun enthusiasts. So they're the gun owners that own lots of guns. They have several handguns and shotguns and things like that, but they still don't really shoot them that often. Not very proficient with their guns. Might go to the range once a year, throw 100 or 200 rounds downrange and call it good. Then from there you kind of have the gun collectors. They're probably more along the lines of the people who have antique guns, muskets, muzzle loaders, things from the 1800s, things like that. Very old collectible firearms. They might be gun owners and gun enthusiasts as well, but collectors in my mind are kind of going after the more rare firearms. And then on top of all of that, you have the shooters. The shooters, in my opinion, are the people who this is their golf. This is their, motorcycle racing. This is their bowling. This is the hobby that they do. They are shooters. They go out to the range, probably an outdoor range. They're drawing, they're shooting, they're running around, they're doing dynamic things. They might do some of these practical shooting sports as well, but they are highly proficient with their guns. They're shooters. So that, in my mind, is kind of the breakdown of gun owners, and I think it's very important if you're going to be, especially a concealed weapon permit holder. You really got to be a shooter. You have to be proficient with your gun. I can't tell you how many times I've taken friends to the range that are gun owners or gun enthusiasts, and I mean, they are just terribly unproficient with their gun. So that kind of brings us into the practical shooting. In my opinion, is it a replacement for tactical training? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't call practical shooting sports or dynamic shooting sports training. There's tactical training. And, I myself, I don't have a law enforcement background. I don't have a military background, but I've been a shooter my whole life. And, when I get out there and I shoot with other guys that are in current law enforcement and ex-military or current military friends that I have, with the exception of one or two of them, I do a pretty good job of out shooting these guys. And it's because, even though they're active military, even though they're active law enforcement, they're still not shooters, which is kind of crazy, but it is what it is. So in a perfect world, would I like to do a tactical training course every week? Absolutely, I would love to, but obviously that gets expensive and it's very time consuming. All the tactical courses that I've taken, they're anywhere between 1 and 2 day courses, or some of them are 4 or 5 day courses. So obviously that's not realistic. So I think that the dynamic shooting sports are a very good adjunct to your training regimen. What I try and do is I try and do at least 2 tactical training courses per year to keep my skills current, keep up with current trends. There might be new techniques that have been developed and I want to find out about those. And then I use practical shooting sports to hone those skills and keep those skills current. I also use practical shooting sports to evaluate myself. I'm going to roll in some videos of me into this video shooting some of these practical shooting sports and show you how I use these videos and I use those matches to hone my skills and find my deficiencies. And then I think, the third thing that you need to do, aside from the tactical training courses and shooting a dynamic shooting sport, is I think you need to go to the range, and you need to find a good outdoor range where you can draw and you can shoot and you can run. Going to a regular range, a static range, and sitting there at 7 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, and just shooting and slowly reloading and things like that, you're doing yourself a disservice. I think you're not really getting in the work that you need to get in. So whether it's IDPSA, USPSA, IPSC, whatever it is, whatever's close to you, whatever's convenient for you, you need to go. It's so much fun, and it's going to improve your skills dramatically. And I shoot IDPA mostly only because that's what works with my schedule. The IDPA indoor and outdoor leagues that they have here in Las Vegas just happen to work with my schedule, and that's what I shoot the most of. So, why dynamic shooting sports? Well, it's way better. It's way better practice versus just going to the range. Like I said, if you're just going to go to the range, you're probably not going to work your reloads. You're not going to be under time. You're not going to be under stress. You're shooting on the move with dynamic shooting sports. You're shooting around barricades. That's something that before I had done it, I didn't realize how difficult that is to do when you're really leaning out and you're shooting around something to the left, to the right. Where do you put your hand? Where do you put your gun? Do you switch? If you're going around the left-hand side of a barrel, do you switch it into your left hand? Things of that nature. I never really realized all of that until I did it. Shooting around walls and corners, I think that's very applicable, especially for us who have guns for home defense. That is very, very applicable. Something that you just cannot do in your normal indoor range. Target transitioning from one target to another rapidly. That is very, very important in a real-world hypothetical type situation that we might run into as a concealed weapons permit holder. And again, most indoor ranges, you can only shoot the target that's right in front of you in your lane. So you miss out on that target transition. Reloads, working the reloads, working them fast, learning how to be proficient, what works and what doesn't. I learned a valuable lesson about my carry weapon and my 2 magazine choices with my carry weapon and how they affect reloads, and I'll get into that in a little bit with one of my shooting videos here. Shooting strong hand, shooting weak hand, shooting while seated, your drawing from concealment, reloading from concealment, the pressure of being under time, your heart beating, you're competitive, you want to see how you do. It really makes you think. It makes you think before you shoot, which obviously I think is very important. You're really making sure you see your sights versus just pulling the trigger. I see that all the time when I go to the indoor range. The guy next to me who probably isn't very proficient, doesn't shoot very much, he loads up his gun. First thing he does is throw that target out to 15, 20 yards, and he just unloads his magazine as quick as he can. And, the target comes back, and yeah, it looks like Swiss cheese, but, he has no grouping, he has no consistency, no combat effective accuracy mindset when he's shooting those targets. Your time and accuracy is graded every time you shoot a match, so you can see your progression as you go on. Are you getting better? Are you getting worse? That type of thing. It lets you know what you need to work on. To me, that's the most important thing, and when I roll through some of these videos, I'm going to talk to that. But when I go with my buddies, I try and videotape them, they videotape me, it really, really shows me what I need to work on. I dissect those videos when I get back and see what I'm doing well and see what I'm not doing well. It's fun. It's great competition. It lets me know what type of equipment I like. It lets me know what type of holsters really work and really don't work. Again, I can put my gun in this holster and carry it all day long, but I'm never really going to know how it performs when I draw from it, when I reholster and things like that, until I get out and I actually do it. And most people, when they go to the range, they don't go to an outdoor range. They don't set up realistic scenarios. They aren't really doing those things. So again, equipment, I think it really, really lets you know what you like and what you don't like. And then, like I said, the competition aspect of it. I want to get out there and see how big my dick is compared to everybody else, just like all these other guys. You know what I'm saying? And it's a good feeling to know, hey, you know what? There were 65 guys that shot this week, and I was in the top 4. That's a really, really good feeling, and it's good to know kind of where you line up. And you know, that being said, I mean, not everybody is good at everything. Some people, I mean, there's some guys that come out and shoot, and they shoot every single month, and they're just really, really, really bad. Again, it's going to let them know where they stack up, and it lets you know what your capabilities are. Every time I go and shoot an IDPA match, I always shoot at least my full size, whatever gun I'm running that year, as far as the full size 9mm. I always run that and my carry weapon. Or I always run my carry weapon, and I'll run, you know, my 45 or something like that if I want to shoot it in another division. I always shoot 2 divisions to get double the work, but I always make sure I shoot my carry weapon and one of these others so I can have realistic expectations of what my capabilities are with my carry weapon. The other thing too is non-threats and hostage targets. Obviously, you know, that's something that you normally don't work in when you go to the regular range. That's something that you will get worked if you do go and shoot these dynamic shooting sports, and then also if you do some tactical training classes. So I've taken lots of tactical training classes. I'm a member out at Front Sight. It's right in here in my backyard in Pahrump, Nevada. I don't really like Front Sight's training per se for a few different reasons. I've gone out there and taken advantage of their classes a little bit. I prefer, my favorite trainer actually is Frank Proctor, Way of the Gun Shooting. He comes out to Las Vegas at least once a year, and I always get in a training course for tactical carbine and also handgun. He's my favorite by far. But they're all great, and I think anything is better than nothing, and I think it's important that you go do that. But the main goal of tactical training classes and the main goal of all of these dynamic shooting sports is safety, proficiency with your gun, and delivering more rounds on target accurately and as quickly as possible. And that, in a sense, should sum up every single situation. Unless you're a target shooter, unless you're a bullseye shooter, that should sum up every single situation for the shooter, gun owner, gun enthusiast who is going to be CCW carrying a weapon. So we'll get into the videos here, and I'm going to try and figure out how to edit these videos in. But I'm going to go ahead and show you a video now of an indoor IDPA shoot where I was seated. And it's supposed to simulate me being in a car. And I'm seated in a car, and I have to draw. I was using this weapon here, my XDM 4.5-inch 9mm. That's the other thing that you know, these dynamic shooting matches have taught me is I definitely prefer 9mm, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But in this video, I'm seated and I'm shooting. It's supposed to be simulating me shooting out my car window. So what this video told me is how fast and accurate I can shoot at 2 different targets, multiple targets, that actually had a hostage or a no-shoot target in the middle. So that would be a non-threat in the middle, 2 targets flanking them right outside my car window. This video shows that, and this shoot gave me a really, really good idea of how quickly and how accurately I can dispel 2 targets right outside my car window with a hostage target in the middle. I'll show you that video.
Shoot already. Stand by.
Is a one-handed shoot. This was an indoor IDPA match, and again, I was using this weapon here, and it's a one-handed shoot, manipulating the gun, manipulating the slide, and doing a reload all one-handed. You know, ejecting the magazine, using my ambidextrous mag release, which this taught me that's something I prefer in a carry weapon. I prefer an ambidextrous slide or magazine release because of that. Letting go of the magazine, putting the gun down, setting up another magazine, reloading with one hand, getting that magazine in there, manipulating that gun. This video is a very, very good explanation of that.
Shoot ready. Stand by.
The next video we go into is a video from when I did Frank Proctor's course out here in Las Vegas at the end of 2014. And this was transitioning around a barrel, around a barricade to multiple targets, 2 different targets. And the targets were, I think we were 20 yards away, 15 yards away, I believe, and then we had to advance towards those targets. I think there was a total of 18 shots with 4 misses. And again, this video, you know, this match and this shoot just gave me a really good idea of how quickly I can press those shots and how accurate I can be in that dynamic situation, transitioning from cover back and forth.
Okay, I wouldn't be able to figure it out either. To handle all that. That's my hero from the misses in the head, so.
The next one we go into is from an IDPA match last year, and this was on the move, shooting around a barricade. If you watch in this video, the reload actually caught me off guard. I'm shooting at some Santa targets, some zombie Santa targets, and you'll actually see my reload is kind of slow because my gun actually, you know, cycled and the slide stayed open and went to slide lock, and I didn't realize it at first, and there was a little bit of a hesitation before I went to that reload. So again, it's helping me develop this muscle memory of what my gun does, what my gun feels like, and more importantly, when something catches me off guard, I'm developing that muscle memory to quickly get that pistol back.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
The next one was an IDPA outdoor shoot where I was seated holding a baby. I do have 2 small children, and again, I think this was very, very good practice where I'm holding something in my left hand, shooting one-handed, letting me know what my capabilities are shooting one-handed with targets at different distances.
Shooters ready. Stand by. Very good. Top off for the next string. Time, 5:81.
The next one is an IDPA shoot where I shot my Wilson Combat in CDP, and we had to do a kind of a run and gun type thing, you know, shooting around barrels and things like that. And then the video following that is the same exact stage that I'm shooting with my XDM 9mm. Now, I'm much quicker with my XDM 9mm. I was accurate in both. I had 0 points down in both, both stages with both different guns. But I'm a lot quicker, and more importantly, my reload is a lot quicker with this. And I think that's just inherent with the double versus single stack magazine. But again, teaching me very good, valuable things about my firearms, about my capabilities with those firearms, and building my preference and building my shooter's profile.
Stand by.
One is an indoor IDPA match where we were shooting some bowling pins. So this is accuracy, accuracy, accuracy. Showing me, I think the bowling pins were, I want to say 10 yards maybe. Showing me how much time I actually need to take to establish well-placed shots. Obviously a bowling pin at the base, you know, is about, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 inches wide. And then obviously going up thinner up towards the neck. But again, you know, there was tons of guys that match just missing over and over and over again. I mean, they're trying to shoot 4 targets, and obviously the idea is 4 bowling pins, 4 bowling pins, 4 shots. And I was able to do it in 4 shots. But again, taking my time to make sure I get good sight alignment and get those shots placed accurately. And, you know, there was tons of guys that took, you know, you're talking 10, 20 rounds in order to get 4 bowling pins down. So again, that gives them good information on, you know, they have to really, really take their time. They have to get good sight alignment, and they have to really, really take their time while they're pressing that shot, giving them good information.
Shooters ready. Stand by.
Yeah, there you go.
A reload match, a reload stage where we had to do 2 to the body, 1 to the head, 2 to the body, 1 to the head on 2 different targets, and then reload each time. So each magazine only has 3 rounds in it. 2 body, 1 to the head, 2 body, 1 to the head, reload, 2 body, 1 to the head, 2 body, 1 to the head, reload, 2 body, 1 to the head, 2 body, 1 to the head, reload. Now what this video showed me is my reloads are very quick, but I'm not getting the gun high enough. I need to get the gun up more in my line of sight, because if you watch this video, you'll actually see my head dip down, and I'm actually looking at my gun, and I'm taking my eyes off the target, which is not what you want to do. So where did I learn that technique? Well, I learned that technique going to tactical training courses. Over the years, various trainers have always told me, hey, listen, you need to keep your gun up high, keep your eyes in the fight, keep looking forward, keep this in your peripheral vision, bring the magazine up to you. Don't do your reloads down here. So that's what I've been trying to work on ever since, and this video is a good illustration where I'm still not quite there. You can see my head, like I said, dip down.
Stand by.
The last one is an IDPA match that I did with my carry weapon, my XDS here. And you'll see that I actually, so I'm getting good work. I'm practicing drawing from concealment. You know, out here in Las Vegas, I usually wear shorts and a t-shirt and this holster in the 430 position. So I'm getting that work, I'm getting that practice. Pulling my shirt up, clearing the weapon, clearing it out of the holster, presenting it to the target, shots on target. So I'm getting very, very, very good practical work that I probably wouldn't get at a regular range. But more importantly, this match taught me something about my carry weapon. And you can see in the reload, the magazine I was using was the extended magazine. Now I have fairly big hands, and I've gone over that in another video. And what happened to me there was I went ahead and released the magazine, but you'll see my palm gets caught up on this mag extension, and the mag won't drop free, and you can actually see that. I come up here and I go to strip it, but my grip is so tight on the gun when I'm coming to strip it, I have trouble getting it out at first, okay? And then you see going in, I was a little nervous and I bobbled the reload. Again, I don't have a mag well or anything on this gun. So, you know, that set me in motion. I'm on the hunt for some type of flared mag well. I don't even care if it protrudes my grip a little bit, but I would prefer some type of mag well on this weapon to help facilitate those reloads. But it also taught me, and now every time I shoot this, the first thing I do is I come up here to strip the magazine because I know that it's going to get held up on my hand. I also know that that's not going to happen with my short magazine here. So I shoot, shoot, shoot. I go to slide lock on the gun, and I know that this magazine will drop free, whereas this one won't. So again, I'm building that muscle memory. I'm learning things about my guns in practical situations that are helping me become a more responsible CCW holder, and it's also helping me to become a better shooter. And think that I would be learning these things and my skills would be progressing as fast as they are if I didn't shoot IDPA, USPSA, steel matches, 3-gun, whatever it might be. So I think that they have their place. Are they training? Absolutely not. Are they a substitute for tactical training? Absolutely not. But I think for most people, they are going to get you the most amount of work on a monthly, regular basis, and not break your bank. I mean, when I go and shoot an IDPA or USPSA match, I mean, what is it, 10 bucks, 15 bucks, and I go and I get to shoot, 6, 8 different stages, and I get to do all of these things. I also shoot a multi-gun where, we shoot handgun and then also assault rifle. I don't really get into the 3-gun just because I don't enjoy shotgun all that much. Unless I'm hunting ducks or something like that. So I don't really do the 3-gun too often. But again, I don't care what it is you go shoot something, because it is going to really, really help your skill set. And, I've heard a lot of people say, well, it helps you develop bad habits and things like that. I really, really disagree with that, because I think the worst habits you can establish are going to an indoor range, setting up a target, taking your sweet ass time to line up your sights and pressing those shots slowly, reloading slowly, and never doing anything that we just talked about in this video. I think that is establishing very, very, very bad habits because they're just not realistic. So that's what I got. Hopefully I didn't preach and bullshit too much. But again, I think the main thing is, if you're going to carry a weapon, if you're really going to love these guns and you really want to, be the guy out there who is going to save the day, then be a shooter. Don't be a gun owner. Don't be a gun enthusiast. You can be a shooter and a gun collector. That's fine. I have a couple of 1800s guns and things like that. But be a shooter. All right, man. Sin City Guns. I'll roll in these videos if I can fucking figure it out. You guys have a good one.